Andy, look, thanks for coming on the show. It's a real pleasure to meet you. I'm a fan. That's what I like to say. I am a fan of your work.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
And I, for people listening and watching, I was scrolling through Facebook and I come across this video of a sort of satire of Indian soaps, and I started watching it. And you know what? I watched it about 3-4 times because I was just giggling, and everything was spot on. I got it. I got the sound effects. I got the music. I got the drama. I saw the reactions, and I thought, in my head, a little seed went in my head. I thought, I need to get this guy on my podcast. I need to know who he is.
Well, hello, here I am. Hi.
So, Andy, look, for people that don't know what I'm talking about, if you can explain kind of what the idea behind this kind of these comedy. So, I don't even know, is there a term to even call this thing?
It is total parody of Indian television series. They call them Indian TV serials. And all of our mums are watching them right now on Colours, Z and Star and all of those channels that you pay so much money for. And they teach our parents these really old school values that don't really stand up even in India today. I mean, I've lived in India for more time than I've lived here now, because I went out there when I was, I won't tell you my age, but but what I will do is I went out there in 1999, 2000, and I've just kind of come back. I was filming for a film in London in February before the lockdown, and lucky that was, because when the lockdown happened and all this crazy stuff happened, I ended up staying back and being at home with my mum.
Yeah.
Because I thought, well, I might as well be in England. I'm not going to go back to India right now. And I'm kind of lucky that happened. But saying that, I ended up watching a lot of these TV shows with my mum. And the thing is, I know a lot of these people who are in the TV shows because they're mates. But the thing is, I never really watched it before. And then I was bombarded with all these like old school values and these situations that are sort of like today and contemporary things, but done in a very old school melodramatic. What's that soap opera called? The Bold and the Beautiful. It's basically The Bold and Beautiful India.
Yes.
And it just really kind of irritated me to the point where I got so angry with it, because I was like, this is just crap. It's not, it's lies. These people don't exist. And yet all our mums are bombarded by this and they love it and they think it's real. And I'm like, I don't know one family that lives like this in India. None of them. And so it kind of just came from that. So the Serial Ho To Aisa came out of my frustration with Indian television shows. Yeah. And, you know, I've worked on Indian television like a lot as a host. Mostly, I'm a presenter in India. So I present things like India's Got Talent, Beauty and the Geek. I was a VJ for India's MTV, which is called Channel V. And so, yeah, so I worked out there a lot, but I never really watched the shows until I got here in England, watching Indian television going, what the hell's this? And then I just thought, how can I get out my frustration, but in a really constructive way that really kind of tells people what I really feel about all of this? So then I ended up going to satire them, and I decided to do it in drag because, you know, a la RuPaul, because, you know, RuPaul's really made drag huge, and I thought, why not? Let me try that. Let me put that hat on and see what it feels like. And you see the result. And there's a lot of people going, no one recognizes me. Mostly they kind of go, who is that? I'm like, it's me. Hello. And then I play two characters mostly. And then my cousins are coming up to me and going, who's the other girl? And I'm like, what? No, they're both me. Yeah. Like, but how do you talk to yourself? And I'm like, it's just how we film it. Just like, really, you guys? Like, you don't know that they're both me? Hello. Yeah. So yeah, it's been really exciting to actually just say what I want to say, because there's been, you know, about awards being fixed. It's about, you know, how, you know, nepotism is not just about Bollywood, but it's also about, you know, the big nepotistic industrial families, and I'm basically just throwing it all in there, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, you've said a lot there. I mean, you've done a lot in your career as well. You know, this is the kind of the new thing that you're doing. You're obviously a creative at heart, and it's something you got so angry. Most people get angry and maybe shout, and you've decided to create something for. But but I understand absolutely. There's messages in that comedy little skit. I get it, because the sort of dynamic between the daughter-in-law and her mother, and that kind of battle about power, who kind of rules the roost, right? And
it's the mother-in-law. Let me correct you. It's the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. It's that old nutshell of who's going to rule this roost, isn't it? But the thing is, in Indian serials, you've got this daughter-in-law who's all good, and there's nothing bad about her. She's just all encompasses everything that is good and righteous. And usually the mother-in-law is everything that is bad. And they are literally that black and white.
Yeah.
So I thought, I mean, they are a parody of themselves already. And then to parody them, it's a really hard job, because they're already so heightened.
Yes.
You know, and that's why I thought, well, drag is going to heighten it even more, right? I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's been quite a journey to sort of write these little skits and go, how do I get my message across about all these little things that I've learned about Indian culture and that hold true today, and you know, the reality of what's actually going on, whether it's governmental, whether it's whether it's really important issues that actually, you know, modern Indians face today. And so I was like, well, I need to say something about this, because, you know, you can write on Twitter all you like and you get all these abuses. And then you know, social media has become this, you know, this dirty pit where everyone's just swearing and, you know, lugging abuses at each other. And I'm like, well, I'm not sure if I want to be a part of that world. But then, as you said, you know, from television to film to now online, you know, we were in lockdown when I created this, and I was like, I'm sitting in lockdown going, what do I do? I used to do something, because, you know, my films are not happening right now. I'm not doing any TV shows. How do I talk to people and get a message across? And I thought, well, why not go online and start producing your own content and putting it out there, and, you know, be in charge of your own messaging. And it's been really sort of it's been really cathartic, actually.
Yeah, it's very well made. I've got to say, and I mean, even the rolling credits at the end, and you know, where the guy tells you what's going to happen next, and he said, "I don't really give a shit."
Well, you know who the guy is? Do you know who the guy is?
Is it Amit Chennai? Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
I mean, he was wrangled in to do this. I mean, Amit's known me, like, you know. My brother Pravesh is really good friends with him, and I've worked with Amit loads and loads and loads and loads in the years. But I would say Amit's just like a brother to me. Like, you know, I've kind of grown up knowing him as an older figure in my, you know, an older brother figure in my life. So it was just a little extension of like, can you do this for me, bro? And he was like, yeah, sure. You know, because he's on radio anyway, so it's easy for him to do a you know, a
little voice
video and send it across.
He's so good. It sounds.
He's excellent.
He's so good.
I mean, he is so good.
See, that's what I mean about looking into quality of making something. You know, it's from the smallest things to the visuals. I mean, you make an absolutely beautiful woman, and I think I've got some kind of crush on them, right? And because I get
which one, the mother-in-law or the daughter?
I think I go through phases. I just love the part where she comes in and she says, you know, her father-in-law, Babuji, he's dead. And he goes, dead. Then he was all right. And she's like, oh, you know, and the dramatic music, but then a snake bit him. And now,
and then he had a heart. No, a woman turned into a snake, and then she bit him. What?
Yeah. I mean,
it gets worse. It gets worse. I mean, I've done 6 episodes till now. I've shot 6 episodes that have gone out. So then I decided, once I've done the 6 episodes, I did pretty all right on you know, online. I wasn't really on YouTube, and I wasn't really focused on actually where I'm going to put it out. So I put it out on IGTV just to sort of, because it was something that I would do regularly. But it's kind of taken off. One of the reels of it has gone to 160,000 reels has happened. And most of them are getting around 20,000, 30,000 look-ins, views. And I think, so it's kind of just now started to pick up. And the good thing, so that made me go, well, I've got to continue, right? So then I shot another 6. And now the next ones that are coming out, they come out every Wednesday. That's just the day I chose, because I was like, well, it's going to be a Wednesday because I don't want it to be a weekend and I want it to be the midweek. I don't know why, I just chose it.
Yeah.
So I basically just did another 6, and then it was, one's called Boycott China. That's the one that's going to come out on Wednesday. There's one called Maha episode, which is Alak Niranjan, and that's when we have a full Ichhadari Nagin and Sapera fight, Main Teri Dushman moment.
Yeah, because she has that.
There. We're going.
Yeah, because she has that move, doesn't she?
Yeah,
and her tongue comes out, and it's. You can see I watch it. I'm not lying. I do watch them, right?
But you know what? I've got this kind of reaction from a lot of people. Generally, like, a lot of people will talk to me and go, I love this. And I think you're right. I think it might be because it's, it's just, I think it's a good package. It's a small, 1.5 to 2 minute little package of fun. And it's also kind of polished a little bit. I guess I wanted it to be polished because I know that Indian audiences generally, they like a polished product because they like to see something that's pretty glamorous. And so that was the onset it had to be. And because the serials are also quite ridiculously glamorous. So I just thought it has to look right. If it doesn't look right, they're not going to accept it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's what was really important to get that right.
Yeah, and you did, because even like the color grading of it's up there, isn't it? It's quite
saturated.
Harsh. Yeah, it's saturated, and the levels are up on saturation. The sound, even when she's taking her COVID mask off, it's quite loud. You could hear the Velcro being ripped off, and but like I said, for people listening, there's some serious themes in there as well, and it's hard to parody something which is so over the top. Because I know there's a serial. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the real serials. In my mind, your serials are the real serials, right? And but my mum watches them, right? And I've caught a few of them. And I remember a serial. I don't know the name, where the protagonist she has darker skin than the rest of her family. And she's kind of, and in her life, she's kind of looked down upon, but she's very good. She's a nice lady, And she's
all good. There's nothing bad about her then.
No, she's all good. She's never done anything bad, but everyone's bad to her, literally because she's got darker skin than everyone else, It's these kind of themes that are not, they're not, it's a serious theme, obviously, in India, talking about lightnings, creams, but the way it's portrayed, do you think the soaps, the serials out there are trying to raise awareness about these things in their own?
They really are. That's their way, because now they've built this language. Essentially, I think Balaji, basically Jitendra's daughter, Ekta Kapoor, created this world with her mum, Shobha Kapoor, and it was this heightened, rich, glamorous. I think it was Kyunke Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi back in the day, where they created this format, which came from Bold and the Beautiful, coming to India. And then they started looking at what are the issues that India is facing, like women's rights. Right now, there's a show out at the moment where this guy is like cheating on his wife, but his wife is all good and amazing, and she's a great mother, and all her children hate her, and her mother-in-law hates her. Everyone hates her. She keeps getting thrown out. And what they're trying to do is kind of go, this is bad. You shouldn't do this to women. But I don't think it ever truly gets to the point where it's like, well, actually, she can actually stand for herself. I'm waiting for the next series because I'll have to watch it with my mom. And so I'm waiting. I'm kind of going, when is she going to get that gusto and get actually... but start believing in herself and actually become that woman that we want her to become. Yeah. But she never becomes that woman. She stays the same. And then other people are brought in to help her be better, or to support that drama. And it kind of misses the mark on these serious moments. I mean, look, even in Serial Ho To Aisa, the show that I'm doing, there are serious things that I'm talking about. I'm talking about, in fact, I'm talking real world serious stuff. I've got one where I think I just shot it recently, and it's about the Secretary General and how Reliance gets to make fighter planes even though they've never made them before. So I'm talking about real life, and boycott China is a huge thing in India today. So it's gigantic. And obviously then I throw in the Nagin moments, because it's just, again, that's another, when I grew up on Shri Devi doing Main Teri Dushman, so it was a moment of that too, sort of paying heed to this, legend to some point. But then I've done it, the Nagin on TV instead of, that was a choice. I mean, I could have gone Shri Devi moment, which I really wanted to do, but I thought, the kids of today, I say the kids, but the younger lot, they're not going to know who that is.
No.
They're going to be like, but Nagin is that woman, not what you're doing. So I thought it has to be relevant to the people out there that I'm trying to talk to, right? So
yeah,
I think it was important to do to today. I think Nagin character, she's quite fat actually. She's the first character. It's really funny. You go from this really beautiful Bahu into this kind of double-chinned fat Nagin. I don't know why. And I was just like, yeah, we're going to do that. Because I think that's underrepresented in India too. Just having people who might be, different sizes. Because some of the women in the main roles, they're so thin.
Yeah.
I get to a point where I'm like, that woman has not eaten for at least a year to be that thin. And they are now saying this is glamorous and she's beautiful. I'm like, no. I mean, I could literally, my this could go around this bit, and it could close. They're that thin. Yeah. I'm like, she looks anorexic. That's not a good look.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not a healthy look.
Andy, you've worked in India as well, obviously. Within Bollywood as well. And I mean, in real life, when you see actresses and even male actors, that pressure to look perfect. Did you see that happening around you?
The struggle is real, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you honestly, I've come to England and I've been eating, just now before I got into the call with you, I made some keema to go to my brother's house, and then I came back and I ate some keema just now and I had some dal. And, I am thinking at the back of my head, every meal, I'm like, Andy, you know what? You put on weight. You've put on weight and you're not allowed. I have to be a certain weight and a certain size, even though it's unsaid. No one's going to say to me, Andy, you can't be this large. But obviously fans, well-wishers, or people who follow you, followers online, now that I'm in the online world, people just say it out straight to you. Oh, you're looking so fat. You're so fat now. Oh, and they make this face like, you are so ugly and fat. And you're like, oh my God, calm down, please. Step back. It's okay. We're going to survive. But then that, in fact, what I've been thinking, just to battle that, and also to battle this idea, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put myself through a 12 to 16 week transformation program. So I'm actually on the hunt right now. So if anyone's listening who wants to help me with that, please help. I'm actually looking at a couple of trainers right now that are close to me, that are South Asian, that I want to go through this transformation. I'm going to put it on YouTube. And I want to actually talk about the reality of going through that transformation, what it feels like to not eat the things you want to eat, to look a certain way. I want to discover what that truly means. It's been something that I've been, fighting my whole life. I have gone from being 126 kilos to being severely underweight at 60 kilos. Wow. And in the space of 3 years. So I've seen both sides of the spectrum. Then even when I was in Bigg Boss in 2013, I was there for 16 weeks and I lost 16 kilos in the house. And I was severely underweight when I came out of the house. I was just a skeleton. If I showed you pictures, I could send you a couple and you'd be like, whoa, and people loved it. They're like, yeah, you look great now. And I felt like shit.
Yes.
So I think it's really important for me to go through that journey and go through the emotional journey. Yeah, I'm going to do the food. I'm going to do the actual transformation and look that six-pack body that everybody wants. I'm going to create it because everyone can. If you really put your hand to it, you can. It's hard work and it's stressful.
Yeah.
It's not fun. And I want to show that. I think it's really important to show people that to look a certain way. People go, oh, how come Deepika Padukone is depressed? Well, she's at the top. She's pretty much on her own. She can't eat. She can't drink water before doing a shoot for 3 days because she has to look ripped. I mean, how, that's not healthy. And then, of course, she's bloody depressed. She doesn't eat anything, So, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we need to be more supportive as people.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, so for yourself, do you feel like you've put on some weight? I mean, I'm looking at you. You look like you don't look overweight to me. But it's
Oh, India standards, I'm obese right now.
right.
Oh, hun, this is too fat right now.
Right.
Oh my goodness. If I was to go, like, I'll tell you something. I just shot a film in January, February. I came for Christmas in December. Then I started the film. I think we started the film on the 27th of December. And I walked in. Oh, by the way, the film that I'm doing is the first ever Indian drag queen film.
Wow.
So I was offered this role and I thought, well, I'll do it. And this is before this whole happened. I guess it's a catalyst to this also. Because when I did the drag in the film, I was like, oh, maybe, you know, then it became a tool that I had in my what's it called, toolbox.
Locker.
And I was like, well, maybe I could use that tool to do something. And that's where maybe, you know, the think tank happened, and I came up with this because I had that in my back pocket now. So I basically, you know, was a normal weight, I would say. And then I say they because I don't want to mention anyone in the film, but there was this kind of thing of, you could be slimmer. You could be, couldn't you? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I stopped eating. I just stopped eating.
Oh, wow.
Besides wearing a corset for 15 hours a day, because you're not going to eat anything with a corset on anyway. Because my 32-inch waist goes down to 23 or something, and I'd be so still not 23. I would say it's a 4-inch decrease of 28. I mean, so you're kind of stuffed into this thing. You can't eat anyway. After 4 to 6 weeks, I'd lost so much weight.
Yeah, I mean, that happens if you don't eat. You will lose weight, right? It's science. But, But what about for wearing a corset? It must be hard to breathe as well, you know, let alone being hungry.
It's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think the first day when I did the shoot and stuff, they wanted me to put my male equipment, the crown jewels away, you know, because I was wearing these really tight clothes. And I was like, oh God. And now, you know, everyone's heard about the tuck and everything from RuPaul's show and all that. And I was like, oh God, that's just, no. And I did it for the first shoot. And I promise you that it was the most painful thing I've ever had to do. Like standing there on set for 15 hours with your balls put away to a place where they shouldn't be or haven't been since you were born. And I'm just like, no, this feels wrong. Yeah. And it was really painful. And then, you know, they don't tell you that there's duct tape. Can I swear?
You can? Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry, but
this deserves swearing.
Television, you can't swear. So I'm just like, oh no! It was painful. Even taking that stuff off, not just down there, but anywhere else that you put duct tape. It's painful. So hats off to drag queens who do this all the time, because it's bloody. Drag is pain.
And then you went and made your own cereal in drag.
Yeah, but I don't have to tie them up, do I?
Yeah, you've got to kind of,
It's about that much. I mean, if I had to wear tight leggings and stuff, I wouldn't do it. I'd pick characters that wear really big dresses. Like, not doing that stuff. Yeah. No.
I was telling my wife that I was going to talk to you today, and because she knows I'm a fan of yours, right? And, she goes,
what'd she say?
She goes, you got to tell him a story, because she's watched a serial with her mum, and when she went to visit her, and the story, Andy, is absolutely ridiculous. So a couple leave their child at a creche, right? And so they leave, and whatever, they're going to work or whatever, but they realize that the children at the creche are very they're sleeping a lot. And you know, so what they realize is that the creche, the people at the nurses, are sedating the children by putting something in their milk so they go to sleep, right? So what the couple do is create their own creche, you know, a nice good one, you know, but the old company, they send in someone to sabotage it. So they send in a dwarf dressed as a child to sabotage this creche. So they've got a dwarf dressed as a little toddler, and he's running around, and he's just ripping shit up, right? He's doing something with the paperwork, and it's absolutely mind-boggling. Who sits around the table coming up with these ideas? I mean, I
do know a few writers. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this is exactly why I did what I'm doing,
Yeah.
because they are absolutely preposterous. The stuff they come up with, and it's really, some of it is really just un-PC. It is just not cool in the modern world.
Yeah.
But, you know, some things, they just get away with a lot more in India. I mean, I've done reality shows where I've been like, you know, I actually felt, okay, there was a show I did called I Can Do That. And they basically said to us, you've got a week. Like, if you think you can do something, whether it's trapezing, whether it's, I don't know, somersaulting on these kind of big, I don't know what they're called now. Oh, they're called bokkers. Basically, they're like stilts that are springy.
Well, I know. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like a pogo stick thingy. Kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's the one on each side of your legs, and,
Yeah,
and you basically have
right.
to start walking around, jumping and doing somersaults, and, you know, running through and fire juggling, and like just like dancing on like hot coals. And I was just like, when they get you into the show, they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to give you a whole week with a specialist. They're going to teach you how to do this, and you just have to do one like 2-minute routine, all right? And so, you know, you see this thing, you're like, oh, I could do that, and you stand, and you just go, yeah, I want to do it. And then next day you don't get called to rehearsal. You get into rehearsal like on a Wednesday of the week, right? So Monday, Tuesday, kind of gone. Wednesday, and then they go, oh, we're filming on Friday. So you literally got Wednesday and you got Thursday to learn how to fire swallow.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? He's like,
Yeah.
you want me to dance on hot coals in 2 days? Is that what you're saying? And the person that's teaching me isn't really anyone who is a specialist either. They're just someone who can do it, you know, and they've done it, and they probably hurt themselves a few times, but hey, they made money out of it, you know. That's who you get. And then you're just like, okay, I'm going to do this. I was doing a juggling act where they had to balance on a, you know, you get a pipe with a plank on it, and you have to balance like that.
Yeah.
And so and it's like a pipe on a pipe on a pipe, and then you're going to balance on top of that. And you're like, what? 2 days?
Yeah.
Who do you think I am? I've never been to the circus, let alone even perform in it. Like, what? And I'm just like, whoa. And then, by the way, and you're juggling as well. Oh, and the ball's going to be on fire. So you're like, okay, I'll do it. You know, I'm game for anything. But give me enough time, right? I'll do it. Guess what? First time I tried to do this balance thing, I fell on my hip. I damaged my hip, and I still have I have a dent in my hip still. It's just never gonna go. Lucky it doesn't really affect me in my movement, and that's why I think I didn't sue them. But generally, that's the kind of stuff that happens. Yeah. I mean, even Khatron Ke Khiladi, which is Indian Fear Factor, is done in South Africa because they don't then have to deal with all of the safety issues with the animal rights and all of that. So that's the world we're talking about. So when you're talking about they're creating these kind of un-PC, crazy storylines, that's just the kind of world it is. And I think someone really does have to talk about it, and that's, I guess, why I'm doing what I'm doing. Go talk about it and go, guys, I'm questioning this. I'm like, why is this allowed? And also, there's another thing in Indian society right now. There's a big shift because we have a very because not the class system, but BJP is very, very Hindu strong, and we've got this kind of ideology of, you know, they're like gods or something, and we can't question them. And then you've got Congress, who is supposed to be about progressive thoughts. And right now they're kind of having this huge tussle amongst themselves. And that's kind of affecting everyone in all levels of society. So the kind of content you're going to get on television when BJP is in power is going to be very Hindu-centric. In every single show, there's going to be a temple scene with a god and praying. And so I've actually questioned them. I'm like, well, there's a lot of Muslims that live in India, Christians and Buddhists and Jewish and Parsis. Are they going to be okay with watching all this in every single show? Yeah. I'm a Hindu, okay? Yeah. But that doesn't mean I can't understand that maybe other people don't want to see that. Maybe they want to be represented. And then you'll get one Muslim show now and again. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, it's all very stereotypical. It's not looking at what actually is happening. Though I will say, the online platforms now, like Z5, Voot, Hotstar, all of these online platforms are now creating their own programming that have less restrictions of what they're allowed to make and how much they can say because it's online. and so those shows are actually a bit more on the ball about what's actually going on in India. I've seen some of those shows and I actually enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in a couple of them as well. So, you know,
Yeah.
there's a show called Masaba on Netflix that I did a cameo in. I literally was, you know, a friend of mine was shooting the show. It's her show. She's the director and the creator. And she went, just come and hang out with me. And I was like, sure, okay. And we're creating something together. But I won't talk about that. And she and I, we were just talking. She's like, oh my God, you got to do this bit for me. And I'm like, no, I can't. My agent won't like it, you know. And then she's like, no, it's a big scene. I shot this whole big scene for the whole night. Didn't go there to work, ended up working. And then I saw myself just recently. Well, I didn't see it, I just saw the scene. And I literally, I'm just in the background. None of the scene, all of it's removed. And I was like, and she did warn me, I have to say.
Yeah.
The director did warn me. She did call me up and go, listen, you know that scene we shot with you and made you work for free? Just kind of shrunk it. I said, listen, how much have you shrunk it? She was like, it's this big. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, why don't you just take it out completely? I would prefer that, you know? Yeah. And anyway, it was fine. It's fine. I mean, but you know, this is the world it is. I mean,
yeah, this is the world. This is the world you live in, Andy. You know, that's kind of how it is, right? And you've been in it for many years now. But I'm quite interested in the dynamic because you know the way the India scene is as well. Mm-hmm. And also now you kind of sort of going testing out online as well. And I think what you're noticing a lot, and also like the other channels as well, that they have kind of more control when, you know, even with my show, we can swear. We can talk for 2 hours. We can talk for 15 minutes. I can get anyone on I want, you know, and I just put it out there, right? So that control may be shifting in India as well, but the infrastructure in India in regards to Bollywood, it's so rooted within India, right? And it's, you know, it's going to, things to change there. It's going to be very difficult. I mean, that song recently, I'm not a massive Bollywood.
Beyonce Sharma Jayegi.
Yes. I mean, how did that even get past the many layers it would need from the creating the song, writing the song, recording the song?
Well, I know the music director really well. He's a really great guy and he is so woke. You know, him and his partner, his musical partner, Vishal and Shekhar, they are like really talented, really woke people. You know, they're very liberal and they know the deal, you know, like they're not these old school music, you know, music directors that, you know, are like, you know, one of those. They're not that. They're actually really like on the ball. They know what they're doing. And in fact, you know, Vishal was actually in a rock band, you know. I've forgotten what it's called now, but yeah, I mean, I've seen him perform live and, you know, be a rock star. So he's so super woke and he's on the other side of it. And so for him to come up with something like that and not really think about the connotations, what they're saying. I mean, I actually came out and was one of the first, if you like, Bollywood people to come out and kind of go, what the F is that, you know? And straight up, my tweet went out first thing, apologizing to Beyonce and going, I'm so sorry that this has happened because it's completely racist and sexist. And it's not acceptable at all. And yeah, it was just a bad situation. Yeah. And I really feel sad. I really feel sad for the actor and actress that were in it too, because the actor in it, he's just done what's it called? The Suitable Boy. And he's a really good actor. And so he's just something really excellent. And then to see him in this, I'm like, oh mate. And then but then again, both those I can't say children, that sounds condescending, I don't mean it like that, but both those star kids, they're Nepo kids, because, you know, one's Chunky Pandey's daughter and one's, what's his name? God, I'm really terrible with names. This is the worst thing. Like, I can see his face and I know him and I just can't remember his name. Oh, I'm doing this Bigg Boss review at the moment, where I'm reviewing it daily because I went on Bigg Boss and you know there's a certain voice there. There's a kind of responsibility to sort of talk to the people who are watching and go whether this is right or wrong. And I just thought, well, we're at home. I'm watching it daily. Why not put out what I think about what's happening?
I've watched them as well, Andy. I've been watching them as well, and you kind of lose.
Oh,
your
you haven't watched?
Yeah, and I'm a fan. I told you I'm a fan, and you kind of lose
Yes.
you lose your shit sometimes, don't you? When you're trying to explain what's going on, and I want to see it explode. I kind of enjoy it. I mean, I don't even watch the Big Boss, but I just listen to your reviews. That's enough for me. I've got it.
Sometimes, like, there's one particular guy in there at the moment. I don't want to mention his name. Actually, I can. Siddharth Shukla. I didn't like him in his season, which was the last season, and he won. He was so derogatory to women. He was abusive. He actually got physical and beat up a couple of people in there too, which is all against the rules, but he won. What are you trying to say as an institution, guys, that you can behave like that and win? Then what are you setting up for future people coming into that show? Oh, I guess what? If he can do it, I can do it too. It's really a bad situation. But then he has this really strong fan following, which just like will troll you to death if you say anything about him, which is really kind of impressive. But at the same time, like, what about freedom of speech? What about me having an opinion? And I don't care if it doesn't meet yours. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, but this is what I think. Yeah. But what's been great about this BB14 daily review that I'm doing is I'm just saying what I feel. And there's a lot of people out there that feel what I feel. So I've just started my YouTube channel. This is going to go on there daily. And I have to say, there's been a lot of subscribing going on in the last 3 days. I think 150 to 200 people have subscribed over the last 3 days. So I'm people do want to hear about this stuff. People want to talk about it. I'm having these open comment conversations with people. And I'm loving really connecting with people, actually, about what I feel, and actually finding people that do feel the same. So it's kind of a lovely thing to be doing. Yeah,
I mean, you're made for YouTube, and I can see you putting more things on there because you've got the right personality for it, and I think you've got that control as well, creative control. That you can literally put what you want on there, sort of sound pieces, your views on things, and there's always going to be a big boss in there, so you won't run out.
There's going to be a big boss, and I was just I've got a new character that's just brewing. Maybe I'll tell you about her. It's a she. I decided because I came up with the name first,
right?
Because I was like, what's a great drag name? You know what I mean? I just want a great drag name. What is a name that for a drag queen? I was thinking maybe I'll just have a drag queen character. And then I thought, what's an Indian saying that could be a name? Because there's a drag queen that I really love. Her name's Seema Butt. So it's like Seema Butt, right? So it's like, it's double entendre, if you like.
Yeah.
And and I was like, I love that name. And I thought, what can I do? What name? And then I came up with a name, Rosie Roti.
Right.
So I just thought, that's a lovely little thing.
Yeah.
But then I was like, who is she? And so now I'm just thinking, she's definitely Rosie Roti reporting. So she's a reporter.
Yes.
I've decided that. This is how I do it, by the way.
Yeah.
This is how I do it. I just go, how did it? And then Rosie Roti reporting, what is she talking about? And recently I've just thought, well, with Arnab Goswami on Republic Television, which is the number one news channel in India today. And they're the reason that Sushant Singh Rajput's suicide was, brought into this media tussle. And they've really been going at it with Kangana Ranaut as well. And so they literally, I would say they are like the version of Fox News in India.
Yeah.
They really don't have any facts. They just kind of shout at you and make you believe their truth or what they're feeding you is the truth. They don't talk about important issues like the GDP dropping, the unemployment rate, people dying of hunger, COVID situation. They don't want to talk about any of that. They want to talk about a media trial of the girlfriend of Sushant Singh Rajput and how she killed him, which is not true. And then now they're talking about Bollywood druggies, which mean, it's like, what are you guys doing? What are you on? Like, it's so one of the Serial Ho To Aisa episodes is about that. It's about how Sasuma, the mother-in-law, has put out a hit on Arnab Goswami because he won't let her talk on the show because he keeps interrupting her. So she has a hit put out on him. And this is actually a true story as well, because someone had attacked Arnab Goswami in his car, And he came out and did this whole report about it. And he was so particular about what time it happened, like 12:03. These two men attacked me outside my gate. I left my office at 12 o'clock. And it's like, 1 second. If you left your office at 12 o'clock, you couldn't have got to your gate in 3 minutes.
Yes.
So, you know, it's complete lies. And then he's like, these two people, these hooligans who attacked my car, told me that Sonia Gandhi, the leader of the Congress party, has sent them to kill him.
Yes.
And it's like, you can't make outrageous statements like that when it's not true.
Yes.
So, you know, I just took that and I spun it into
I
did it.
I wouldn't think any hitman would have this big speech for them first before they would do the deed, right? And like a film, you know. We're going to kill you, but we're going to... Yes. Just so you know. And
that's not political propaganda at all. You haven't been paid by a political party to bring one other party down at all. No, you didn't make 5,000 crores, did you? You know, come on, and, just too much.
And if she wanted to get hitmen, she probably would have got ones that would have.
She ain't gonna tell you she's doing it.
Exactly.
I mean, that's why I think Rosie Roti has to be this kind of corrupt reporter who will tell you anything, lies, that don't have any truth in them, but they talk about the subjects. And I think maybe she's, I don't know, is she a puppet? I don't know, like I haven't figured it out yet, but she's brewing in there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So that's kind of how you sort of create these characters. Did have a name first, or I mean, how did the first two characters come out from the serial?
I sat there and I started speaking in Hindi in serial language.
Yes.
And I just kind of started hearing my serial language is completely different. I never heard any Indians speak like this. Nahi to main tumhe maar dalungi. You know, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, who says that? You know,
yes.
I haven't heard one person ever in India, in all my 20 years there, have I heard that been said. So I'm just like, so I was like, I started speaking like whoever this person was, and I closed my eyes and I realized that I'm really inclined to speaking like one of the mother-in-laws because she's so evil and vampy, and it's really fun to play. And that's where I just figured out how she talks. And then I thought, well, if she's evil, I've got to do the good character. And then, you know, she's Sasuma, which is this really good and amazing and godly, saintly woman, you know. So I was like, well, that's it. I've got to, that's how they came along. And they don't even have names because it's literally Sasuma and Bahu. They don't have names. They just, I tried to give them names at the beginning, and I was like, well, maybe she can be Upasana Devi. And I was like, well, I don't think it matters.
No.
They literally are Sasuma and Bahu. That's it. But the thing about the new 6 episodes, now I was going to do it in seasons, because I was going to do the first 6 episodes of one season and the next 6. But I thought, well, I kind of just scrapped it because I'm just learning as I go with the online stuff, right? So the way it's working at the moment, because Instagram is so high on the reels, which is 15 seconds of content, you don't have time to put those beautiful titles in, and you're going to get into the bloody stuff straight away. No one's interested in a lovely title sequence.
No.
They just want the punchline. Don't talk to me, just give me a punchline. So I realized that in the first 6, and I'm going, how do I change this? So now the title just comes on the action, you know what I mean? The next 6. And I scrapped this whole idea of first season, second season. So I said, screw that, it doesn't work. Just put the content out. And now, you know, I'm really excited about bringing new characters within the world. Now you're going to get to see Bhaironath, which is the supera for the Alak Niranjan thing, for the Nagin. So he's come to get her money, which is really fucking stupid, but it's really funny. I think it's funny. I mean, when we're shooting it, like, I'm literally playing these characters, and like my brother, who is helping direct it for me, because obviously I can't be behind the camera, and I just reel him in. I'm like, you got to do this. Him being a big theatre director helps. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That helps. And he basically would just, like, he just starts laughing, and you see him just laughing and then falling on the floor. And I'm like, how am I supposed to do this if you're going to be rolling around on the floor? It can't work. You have to stop. I mean, even I at times will say a line, and then as it finishes, just holding it in and just burst out, because I think the meter to know whether something is funny, for me anyway, is, did I laugh? Do I think it's funny? That's it, really, because I had this whole paralyzed fear of putting something out at the beginning of this to go, is it going to be good? Is it going to be something that I want represented, you know, of my work or what I put out. And but then I had to really like talk to myself about the fact that, Andy, do you think it's funny?
Yeah.
And that should be enough. Yeah. And if you think it's funny, people who think that you think it's funny will find it funny eventually, right?
Oh, I love it. Honestly, it's just,
I'm so glad. I'm really glad you do.
Even the ridiculous when the mobile phone rings or their house phone, it's so loud. And it's, you know, it's little things like that. And I just relate to that because in the show, there's always bloody phone ringing, isn't there? You know,
there's
always some, and it's that dramatic. The editing is spot on. For anyone listening and watching this, right, you've got to check it out. The editing is fantastic because it moves with the music, and it's just like the serial that. Dun, 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 dun.
I mean, the editor is really good. He's really worked hard on it, and I think there was this whole. I mean, when we first did the first 6 episodes, I was so adamant on how it should be. I had actually edited the first episode myself, but my editing features on my iMac were really bad because it's an old one, and I thought I better get it. I can edit, but the machine I had wasn't good. So I had given him a sort of a lineup, but then he's gone away and just really pumped it up. And you know, he's also South Asian. Narinder, he's hello. What is going on? Is it some full moon or something?
It's the Indian government.
It's the government just wanted me to shut shit down.
Shut that Andy up. Modi's losing
Shut him up now.
Yeah.
He's been talking for more than 45 minutes.
Yeah. Is it plugged in? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right now.
Yeah, I mean, so where was we? What was we talking about before you blanked? Your editing. The editing of the...
Yeah, the editor.
Yeah.
His name's Narinder. I want to say his surname. I'm so bad. Mataru. Narinder Mataru is the editor himself. And he actually got introduced to me from Resource Productions, which is a local film company run by Dominique Unsworth, who's MBE. And she actually supported the first 6 episodes by paying for Narinder to do them.
Wow.
So that was kind of a really awesome thing for someone to do. You know, it was kind of amazing to get that support because honestly, the kind of money it takes to create these kind of things, you know, you can't, I mean, honestly, like, you know, not actually working and then having to sort of fork out for that kind of stuff, it's really difficult at times.
Yeah.
So it was really nice that, you know, a film company decided, you know what, I'm going to help you. I'm going to put that in there. So big props to Resource Film Productions. Throw that in there. And then, you know, since then, now this next 6, I'm going to get done from him on my own back. But, you know, as an Indian, I got a bit of discount. I was like,
yeah,
I'm a poor artist. Yeah. Can you please do it for less money? And he was nice enough to go for it. But, you know, but he don't do it for no one else, just me, yeah? All right?
Yeah, exactly. Before anyone gets any ideas.
Ideas, please.
So shout out to Narinder. It's fantastic. I mean, it's kind of a contained small piece of art. That's the way I see it. Because I think there's some...
God, I really like you. That, I think, wow. This man, he understands it.
I think from the costumes, the makeup, the sound, the color, the actual stories are so ridiculous, but you kind of think, yeah, that probably would be in an Indian soap as well. You know, that'll be in a serial.
I'm trying to get worse. I'm trying to think what could be. I mean, the next episode, I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler. That's coming out tomorrow at 1 or 2. It's Babuji dies obviously again. He dies in every episode. That's important. He's like Kenny. He will die. Right. We don't know how, but he will. Basically, he's on his way to space. That's all I'm going to say.
Of course.
He's on a space shuttle to the moon.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying hard to just really think out of the box. How like crazy can it go? Because I'm watching Serial sometime, an actual Serial with my mum, and it is worse than I could have ever thought.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Exactly.
You can't do worse than them. You just I try and I keep failing. Because
I mean this show it's got legs, right? I think it, you know, because on you're talking about going online, and there's a reason why clips are like 60 seconds, or even reels is 15 seconds, because what these big companies in Silicon Valley like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they realize that people's attention spans are so short these days, right? So 60 seconds is what they've kind of worked out is the optimum time for even a little, because I do promos for these and they're 60 seconds long. So yours is about what, 3 minutes or so?
No, it's less. Most of them are between 90 seconds and 2 minutes. None of them have gone over 2 minutes.
That's an amazing feat, for 2 minutes to get that all in that little package. I think kudos to you, mate, and to the people working with your team. Parvesh, obviously, I know Parvesh a little bit, from being on my show previously, and to Amit as well. But all of you guys, for 2 minutes, that's what I mean. It's like a little contained piece of art for putting it out there. And I'm not going to say I'm a fan, because I think people got the fucking idea right, because I keep saying it right. But I am, and I want you to carry on, definitely, because it's my little dose of happiness while trawling through social media and the usual cesspit of opinion. And it's something bright and happy, and it makes me chuckle, man. And that's the big thing about in life. We need a bit of...
I'll tell you something, actually. It's funny because some of the episodes have been a bit sort of, what's the word, scandalous, because there's been a lot of fan following that have gone into, you can't talk about this, or you can't do it, and they're trying to shut it down. And I'm like, well, you don't like it, you don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna listen to you. I'm gonna do what I want to do. It's my voice. Still want to hear it? Get lost.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna get that, and everyone's got a bloody opinion these days, right? But for the future, Andy, obviously being an actor as well and a presenter works probably harder at the moment, and I don't know, even Parvesh is dealing with lockdown and his productions are on hold. But for yourself, what about the future? What's your plans?
Well, honestly, I really believe in the online space right now, whether that's OTT platforms like Netflix and Amazon and Z5 and all of the Indian platforms out there like Voot and Hotstar. I've got affiliations with these channels, and these are their online versions. So I'm thinking now, as producer head, now that I know I do have that producer head, if you like, that creative idea of what I want to create. I have got a couple of ideas that I'm trying to develop into scripts for short sort of series on online platforms. So, like a 6-part, mini series. I'm going to start pitching for that kind of stuff now, because look, honestly, with the world that we're living in today, even with the vaccine in 6 months from now, the world has changed as we know it. And I think the live theatre space is a hard one to look at right now. Plus cinema is a hard one to look at right now. So any films that are going to be created will be created for the small screen now, whether we like it or not, for a little while, until it's safer to get out. And even then, maybe the whole industry would have changed by then. By the time we can actually get out and talk to each other and touch each other without feeling like we're going to get something from each other, there might not be that space available anymore. No. I mean, and we might have all focused in on the small screen.
Yeah, because even before COVID, cinemas were struggling with Netflix and online streaming platforms anyway. And to put COVID in a pandemic, it's obviously just really hit them hard. Cineworld is closing down its theatres. I mean, such a big company, and somehow you can't believe it. But you're right. I think when we come out of post-COVID, things will change. And
that's why career-wise, I've decided very clearly that I need to focus on the online space. I think this is my venture into it. I'm learning every day about new stuff, about what times to post stuff, what kind of audience graph I've got, who watches me, who's interested. So I'm learning a lot. I guess I've been really spoilt working on, big scale Indian television, where I have 15 producers and assistants and makeup artists and this. And in this project, I kind of proved to myself, I did the makeup myself, I did the hair myself, the costume design, everything. I have done everything on this except for, obviously I can't be behind the camera, so I'm not behind the camera, so I get my brother to jump in. And the editing is something that I feel like it's great that I've got another person doing it, because I've got another pair of creative eyes on it.
Yeah.
And he also adds things to it, so that just, that makes it a better product.
Yeah.
So I've kind of proved to myself I can produce content that is enjoyable, that is good quality. And now I'm kind of focusing on, well, if I can do it for 2 minutes, can I do it for 6 episodes of 20 minutes or 6 episodes of an hour? You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, I think I've started to sort of look at how can I create, you know, that kind of a show. Maybe I'm not even in it, you know, maybe it's not about me, you know, it could just be about stories that I want to tell. I'm not sure. I'm just, because of the way the world is changing so fast right now, I am kind of figuring out, is that the way to go? Do I put on that producer hat permanently is the question.
Yeah. And it's interesting probably for you to see who's kind of receptive to this, because even for my audio podcast, because it comes out on YouTube, it's a new thing for me as well, but my audio podcast is kind of where my bread and butter. And recently it's gone on to Ghana in India.
Right.
And because my download figures shot through the roof, and I was thinking, what? Well, who have I had on? That's just, and then I realized it's been accepted on Ghana, and so people in India are now starting to listen to the show. Right, my demographic,
that's a huge audience,
massive. And I mean, when my download started going up, it was by huge numbers, and I was thinking, what's going on? You know, double checking, and I realized it got accepted to go on to Ghana. Right, and that's what's now
that's
changed.
Amazing,
and it's changed.
Well, congrats on that, because that's a big one.
It is, and I'd never realised it was just. I'd never realised how big it was, obviously, because I live in the UK, right? And I never fully appreciated it, you know. But that's a new market for me, and they're listening to people from the UK artists. But for you, how is India taken this? I know you got a lot of friends in Bollywood in the industry.
It's interesting because it's funny because I just did an episode. I think it's the one with the awards. Where, you know, she says, you know, awards are for the people that deserve them. How much for 2?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And how much for 3? Oh no, at that rate I'll take 2. Yeah. And my seat should be in the front row, right between Ranveer Singh and Sanjay Leela Bhansali. And some people have taken it like in a really like another way. And I've just started getting today. Actually, I just got a few comments about, oh, how can you say this about Deepika Padukone? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I said nothing about that woman. Yeah. And, you know, I know Deepika. I mean, I know Deepika. I mean, she's a really lovely girl, and I'm not saying anything bad about her. So I don't understand how they politicize that, because she just recently, you know, got called in to meet the CBI. So she's in the press for all that, and she's got a lot of bad press. So maybe people think I'm trying to like dog on her, like she's buying her awards. That wasn't ever the thing. No. I am clarifying it, going, no, I don't have a problem with her at all. And they're saying, oh, you're saying that she's buying her awards. I'm like, what? No, Sasuma's buying the awards. Yeah. Not Deepika.
Yes.
Sasuma doesn't want to be Deepika. I'm like, what are you talking about? Stop politicizing it. And that's not the satire we're playing here. But then again, if that's what the Indian audience is taking from it because of what's happening in popular culture, then you got to take it on the nose and go, okay, so that's how that's taken. You know what I mean? Like, you can't control something once it's out. It's out, and if people take it the way they take it, it's like, it's a piece of art, like you said, and people will take from it what they will, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of shining a light on certain subjects, and sometimes people don't like the light on them. You know, it's kind of a defensive thing, you know, why are you saying this? But look, Andy, we're coming towards the end. I've had a fantastic conversation with you because I kind of wanted to get to know you and to know this guy behind this little program that you make, you know. And but for anyone listening and watching this, I'll definitely go follow Andy's work, you know, and go watch these shows, go subscribe on YouTube and support. And I mean, people like you need our support, because at the moment, like you said, COVID-19 has affected you in your career, and obviously
it has. I'm honestly, I have 3 films that are on a standstill. I've got 1 film that's completed I have to do the dubbing for, but I can't go to India for it right now. I have a television show that I had to start, which isn't going to start now. So, you know, that has come to a pause. And so I've just decided that this is going to be my way of staying sane, putting out stuff and reaching out to people who want to hear what I have to say.
Yeah. So where can people follow you, Andy?
Well, you can follow me on YouTube. The YouTube channel is I am BJ Andy. So it's I am BJ Andy. And in fact, all my social medias, they're the same. So on Twitter, I am BJ Andy. On Instagram, I am BJ Andy. It's the same across the board. So I kind of made that important. So I am DJ Andy on pretty much all social medias.
Yeah.
You can find me on pretty much all of them. Yeah.
That's fantastic. It makes my life a lot easier as well when I when I put your contact details on the show notes for anyone, and I'll put
my email address is iambjandy@gmail.com. Like I've made it so simple. Like
it works. And but look, Andy, it's been fantastic speaking to you. I can't wait to see the new episodes. Definitely, I'll be sharing them out.
Thank you.
Mate,
Thanks very much. No, thank you.
And
oh my God, I've got to do a plug-in. 1 second. There's a plug-in that I completely forgot. I'm also on the weekends going to be doing a talk show with ex-Bigg Boss contestants called Andy's Royalties.
Oh, how did you forget this?
Because I'm dumb. There's just nothing else I can say about that. And I'm basically going to be interviewing Bindu Dara Singh, who is Dara Singh's son, who is a really big personality out of the Bigg Boss house. And he's going to be my first guest. I'm shooting with him or filming with him on Thursday. And that episode should be out on Saturday. Oh, and then I've got people lined up, like Gahar Khan's gonna be on it. We've got, Diandra Soares. These are all people that have been in the house. I've spoken to Urvashi Dolakia, Gautam Gulati. These are all Bigg Boss names. Bigg Boss, and Gautam Gulati is a winner. Urvashi Dolakia is a winner. So I'm gonna have these people that are really important from Bigg Boss, and I'm gonna be talking to them about their lives, about what are they talking about now, like how is life after COVID. How's their work? What are their plans in life? I guess what you're kind of doing with me in a way, because they're my friends, but at the same time, we have this connection, which is a family connection, which is basically we all lived in Bigg Boss house.
Yeah.
Once you lived in that Bigg Boss house, you are family because you know what that's like. You know what it feels like, especially when you've lived in that house for 103 days plus. You know what that's about. It's another scene. And I want to know about that. And some of them don't really want to talk about Bigg Boss, but that's not important to me. What's really important to me is talking about them and their journey and what they're going through now. Yeah,
I think you'd be perfect host for that. Obviously, you got the experience of being in it yourself at one point, and so exciting stuff for you. There's a lot happening, and I'm glad, it's probably a message to people listening and watching at home that, you can't control COVID. We can't, we're kind of stuck. And so you kind of have to make the best of things, we've got the tools. It's a lot easier than it was maybe 5, even 10 years ago, right? To do things like this and put our own content out there. And I think you're a great example of that. And I think you're going to be inspiring to a lot of people watching and listening. And thank you for coming on.
No, absolutely. Thank you for having me on your show, and thank you for watching my stuff and supporting me, because I think that's the most important. So, if people watch it and support it, and unfortunately, in the online world we live in, it's all about views. If it's successful in the views, then eventually I can just make bigger and bigger stuff. It's really just about that for me. So thank you for being a supporter, being a fan, as you like to call it, and I'm just so happy that you wanted me on the show, and I thank you.
No problem. I'm refusing to say I'm a fan anymore. I must have said it about 15, 20 times throughout this. People get it, right? They get it. I like it. So go out and check it out. And Andy, look, thanks for coming on the SMT.